Hey guys, thanks for joining me today on this DIY. My name is Gwen and this is my channel, Home to Inspire DIY and Decor. The first project I'll be making is a home wood sign with a planter box filled with lamb's ear. Most of the supplies I used came from Dollar Tree, such as the picture frames and all the wood pieces. The paints I'll be using are Waverly chalk paint from Walmart, and a stencil I'll be using came from Michael's. So here I'll be painting the wood slat in white by Waverly chalk paint. I give that enough coats to cover the wood color. And while I let that dry, I took some elephant chalk paint and painted this home sign. When I was done painting the home sign, I just let that dry. And I took my stencil in this buffalo check pattern, using some white chalk paste from Michael's. I just layered on some of this paint. I spread the chalk paste evenly over the buffalo check stencil. This is my first time using the stencil, and the chalk paste is a little thick for my liking, but I think it came out pretty good. I dry brushed this wood planter in the white color to match the wood base that the home sign is sitting on. I took my heat gun to speed up the drying process. I took some of this lamb's ear that came from Walmart and just trimmed it down so it would fit nicely into this wood planter box. I decided to use some of this moss to fill in the planter box so you wouldn't see the inside, the empty spots of the planter box. I proceeded to distress the white piece of wood along with the planter box so everything could coordinate well with the same elephant chalk paint by Waverly. I added some Mod Podge to the home sign to protect that design from chipping off. I then took my wood glue along with some hot glue and glued down the home sign to the white wood slat. It's a wood base, so essentially it would be standing up. And you guys, this project was super easy to make. It's really simple farmhouse decor. I think anyone can make it, and I think it came out super cute. I continue to glue the pieces together using the same hot glue, wood glue method I just attached that wood planter box to the wood base that the home sign was sitting on. So it would essentially be one piece. And here's how that sign turned out. I think it turned out great. Hope you guys like it too. Next project is a blessed wood house frame. And I started by painting the wood slats, which will be the base, in the color celery. And I colored one in the cashew by Waverly. I also painted the wood half beads in the same cashew color. I then took some antique Waverly wax and painted over this blessed sign. Next, I took these wood house frames and I removed the inside matting. I used it as a template to trace out the shape of the house using some vinyl that came from Target. I used this matting that I cut out of this vinyl to replace the original mat that came with it. When that part was done, I took some cashew paint and dry brushed over the blessed sign to give it that distressed look. Next, I will be assembling the wood base that the frames will rest on using some wood glue and some hot glue. I attached the celery colored wood slat over the cashew colored wood slat, and I repeated that with the second one. And as you see here, you're able to slide your two house frames into the section, allowing it to stand freely. I took this third celery colored wood slat and I glued it to the front portion of the stand, and that's where the blessed sign will be sitting on. I then proceeded to take those half wood beads that I painted earlier and I began to glue them onto the front part of the wood base using some wood glue. And I continued to do that until it ran across the front. Now came the time to assemble the base that the frames will be sitting on. And here I'll be taking some wood glue and hot glue to attach the two celery wood slats to the cashew wood base. And you will be seeing how I attach that. I continued the process until I was able to attach everything to the wood base, and this was a way for the frames to stand into the slider without it being permanently affixed, so that you can remove it easily to change out your pictures. I then took that last piece of celery colored wood slat and glued it to the front part of the wood base, and this is where the blessed light up sign will be sitting on. So it's gonna be right in front of the two house picture frames. Then I took my wood half beads and I went ahead and started gluing them onto the front part of the wood base to give it a little character. Next, I added some eucalyptus and additional greenery and florals to the front part of the frame. And here is how this project looked when it was all complete. And now we're on to project number 3. This is going to be a home wood hanging sign with a flower planter. First off, I took some elephant chalk paint by Waverly. While that dried, I took 2 of these wood signs that came from Dollar Tree. They're the seasonal signs. I just cut off the top part that had like the pumpkin decor. And this was in a plain unfinished wood, but I gave it some coats of white chalk paint. I didn't really thoroughly saturate the wood. I wanted some of that brown to come through. And as you see here, I started drying the paint with my heat gun so I can move on to the next step. I took some white chalk paint and distressed this home sign, giving it a dry brush. When the 2 boards were dried, I flipped them over and I took some of these wood planks that came from Dollar Tree, and they came in a 6-pack. Using the wood glue and hot glue, I just used those as a support for the back side. Since I was using 2 individual boards, they needed to be attached in some manner. So by adding some wood pieces to the back, you are adding structure and support to the sign. I had this peel and stick wallpaper that came from Dollar Tree, and it looks like plank wood, and I used that as the background for my home sign. All I did was peel off the backing, and I tried to center it on the wood planks as best I could. And then I took my home sign and rested that on top of the peel and stick wallpaper. When I had the wallpaper where I wanted it, I glued the Homewood sign down over it. Then I took some of this vinyl paper that came from Dollar Tree and this buffalo check pattern, and I just measured out the sides of the sign. I wanted to trim out the sides. I felt like the sign was missing something, like it needed a border of some sort. So I just took this buffalo check vinyl paper, and I cut it to size. And I just peeled off the backing and stuck it to the sides. And when that part was complete, I took my little flower planter, used some glue. This time I used the Gorilla Glue and some hot glue. And I stuck this onto the bottom of the home word, just centered directly underneath it. And this is where I start to arrange some of these fern leaves along with other types of greenery into this planter. And some eucalyptus, and I just continue to fuss with it until I liked how it looked. I did end up rearranging the greenery later on, and I added a faux succulent in the middle. I felt the white flower pot needed a little something, so I made a vinyl cutout using my Cricut machine. And here you go. Here is project number 3, all completed. I am so happy with how this turned out. I'm really proud of how all the projects came out. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching and got some inspiration from this. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and tune in for more inspiration.